Good evening and welcome into the Mafia Cast, brought to the fans by the fans, and this is your one-stop shop for all things Bills every single week. Now here are your hosts, Mike Yanni, Ronnie Eastham, and Casey Sita.
We are back. Welcome into the Mafia Cast. Casey, what is up?
Dude, I was going to say it feels like it's been weeks since we've done this, but, it actually has been a couple weeks. It's nice to see you again. I mean, we've both been to a game, and since the last time we were on a podcast, all three of our lives have just been totally crazy busy. This time of year, the holidays are starting, the podcast has been spotty here and there, but we're trying to get back into that rhythm and flow.
Yeah. I think we're ready to get back into this, get rocking and rolling. We do have at least one guest lined up for next Thursday night show. We'll talk more about that later. Working on another one for Monday. Again, we'll let everybody know when that is official and who that is going to be. We've had a great couple of weeks as far as the Bills go. Back-to-back wins, back-to-back wins. 2 in a row since we've been absent from the show. I'm just going to start with right off the bat. How are you feeling about this team right now?
I think if you asked any us fans, and if you told us we were 6-2 at this point, didn't tell us who we lost to. Well, I mean, other than the divisional games, if you didn't tell us who we lost to, every fan would be like, holy shit, I'll take that all day long. Because, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year. This was supposed to be the year that Miami and the Jets finally took down the Bills because the Bills got rid of everybody. They got rid of Poyer and White and Hyde and Diggs and Davis. We were supposed to be, contending, but definitely weren't the favorites. And I love that graphic that pops up every so often on my feed, and it's the ESPN analysts giving their AFC East predictions at whatever month, whether it be July or August. And 2 of them were picked the Dolphins, and 2 of them picked the Jets. And, we all just kind of kicked back and smiled, and we were like, we'll wait and see. That's just being fans, delusional fans. Because let's not forget, 4 weeks ago, we were all saying burn it down, fire everybody. And here we are. It's happy-go-lucky again. It's amazing what winning can do for a fan base and a football team and just the morale around it. But getting Vaughn back this week, fingers crossed, might be getting Terrell Bernard back this week, getting healthier. We're getting regular acquisitions. We're starting to ramp up a little bit, in my opinion. That's good for the time of year and the schedule that's coming up in the next few weeks. Ronnie, you are muted, my friend.
Yeah, well, it's not a complete show unless one of us is muted.
I win.
Yeah, I agree. The next couple of weeks, I think, are key for the Bills. We pick up some significant wins. If we can beat the Dolphins, I think that all but secures the AFC East division for Buffalo at this point. The division is terrible. I haven't seen them this bad since the Patriots were in their heyday.
Right.
And following, I believe, Colts. Following them is the Colts, which they're kind of a 50-50 team, right? They just benched Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco.
Quick, what do you think about that? Now, I know me and Spence had that bet last year. That's but that's also – I liked the prospect. I overlooked him only playing 12 games since he was a senior in high school. But I saw the raw talent, the ability. And I'm not saying I didn't expect him to be Josh Allen. I wasn't saying he was going to be. But, the ability to be Josh Allen is there. So I was betting on that, maybe not in the first year, but, the second, third year – he was going to just slowly improve, do the simple things, get better slowly. And he hasn't gotten better at all. In fact, he looks kind of shell-shocked. So, what's your opinion on the whole thing? Flacco's obviously not the quarterback of the future. They have a halfway decent team and, in my opinion, a winnable division.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of the whole situation?
Well, for starters, when I heard earlier this week, I guess, that he had taken himself out of a game because he was quote unquote tired,
I forgot about
that
that.
blows my mind.
That's
And
insane.
yeah, I've never heard of a quarterback doing that. And it does make me question where he is mentally and I guess work ethic wise. We've always heard about Josh Allen spending so much time in the off season learning his craft and taking all the time and effort to perfect and improve certain aspects of his game. So when you hear somebody like Anthony Richardson, who quite honestly, raw talent is right there, when you hear stuff like that, it really makes you question if his heart's in it and if he has what it takes to make himself better. I'm not throwing the towel on him. I'm not calling him a bust because it's too early for that. But the future doesn't look bright, and maybe he needs another team that'd be willing to take a shot. I don't know if that's something the Colts would do in trading him or not, but maybe that's something they need to look at.
I mean, think about it. What was the knock on Trey Lance? That he had played whatever it was, 8 games or 20 games or whatever.
Yeah.
Since he graduated high school. Richardson has played 22 games since he graduated high school. That's through college and NFL, including this season. He's young. He's really young. You got to give him time. Now, I know I saw the tweet you had to where, quarterbacks bust all the time. It's more likely than not they're not going to be good than they are.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, it's one of those, what fails first? Does the team fail the player? Does the player fail the team? There's glaring examples on both sides. In my opinion, the Bears failed Justin Fields. If the Bears did half for Justin Fields as to what they did for Caleb Williams going into Williams' rookie year, I think Justin Fields would have been an all right quarterback because it might have given him a little motivation. But then you see the guys like Jamarcus Russell, and you hear the stories of like the Raiders sending him tape to watch, and him saying he watched it, and it comes out later that they were blank tapes. So like there's always one on either side, but it's like right now he's falling into the Jamarcus Russell side because he's taking himself out on a play. He's got weapons. Josh Downs is a hell of a receiver. You mix that with Jonathan Taylor, a top five running back, in my opinion, in the league. You got Michael Pittman on the other side, rookie wide receiver Donnie Mitchell, and Alec Pierce. That's a pretty good top 4 wide receiver corps mixed with a good running back and a young offensive mind who we saw last year can go to work with Garrett Minshew, makes Joe Flacco look like prime Joe Flacco again. So clearly, they've basically taken every variable out of the equation. They're like, all right, what is it? Is it him or is it us? And clearly they're like, it's him. Because when he got hurt and Flacco came in and he lit it up, they were like, all right, it ain't us. So maybe he just needs a couple years, but I don't think anybody's going to be giving up on him. He's too good. He's too raw of a prospect, If Zach Wilson can get a job somewhere, Anthony Richardson can definitely get a job somewhere.
Yeah, he'll definitely get a job if it's not in, staying right there where he's at. But I do wonder.
Know what I wouldn't hate?
Don't say trade to Buffalo.
Are you kidding me? For a lousy 5th round pick? You get a cost-controlled rookie for the next two years to sit behind Josh, and then he becomes trade bait for us because we're like,
Maybe.
wow, look how good he's doing in practice, and he comes in and maybe he wins a game or two for us. You see it all the time. You see the AJ McCarrons of the world. Brock Osweiler. all these guys make money, get teams like good draft picks, trading for them. I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't be insane if there's anybody that he could sit behind and be like, that's exactly the kind of play style that I do. It's Josh Allen. So, like, I mean,
That's what I said about Mitch Trubisky, and I was wrong.
But it wouldn't be Mitch Trubisky is a little bit different of an athlete than Anthony Richardson, though. Richardson can actually do on paper, should actually be able to do the stuff Josh can do, like the run, just the physical ability, the running aspect, the cannon for an arm. In my opinion, it would be worth, like I said, for a 5th round pick. I know that's where 90% of your roster is made up of, is those middle rounds, and we already lost a 3rd in the Amari Cooper trade, but that's because we have 2 seconds, so that's really kind of a wash. But yeah, I mean, hey, in my opinion, it'd be worth it if the Colts are willing to just throw them away. Sure, why not?
I mean, if they're willing to, I doubt that they would be willing to do that.
Well, but, again, look what Fields was traded for. Again, he only had 1 year left on his contract. So, I mean, if Richardson isn't anything next year, then that's where he becomes available.
Yeah, maybe next year.
That's really what I'm not saying this year at all. Though. I'm not saying. I do too, because I don't think Joe Flacco is going to make it through 10 games. I do, and I think that's the worst part of it.
I was thinking more along the lines of the Colts not winning enough games and being, officially eliminated at some point over the next month or so from the playoffs. And I think at that point, you almost have to bring Richardson back into the game. And maybe this serves as a wake-up call to him from the mental aspect of it, the work ethic part of it. I'm not saying that he's lazy in practice or anything like that. I don't know.
Right. No.
But again, when a guy takes himself out of a game as a quarterback who's supposed to be the leader of your team, when you've got offensive linemen playing almost every single snap and they don't come out of the game, and it just, to me, it calls into your character a little bit. Maybe he just in that moment wasn't thinking. Maybe he got his head knocked. I don't know.
Right, but I mean, we've all needed a break at some point, and we've all needed a break at very inopportune times. And but there's sometimes you're just like, damn, I need a break. I need a break, and I understand that because I guess that series he had been running the ball a lot. I get it.
Stop running.
I don't see Lamar coming out of the game because because he ran 4 times. I don't see Josh coming out of the game because he had to leave the pocket. I understand wide receivers taking themselves out of the game.
Yeah.
To when
we do see that.
But that's when a play hasn't gone to you for 3 straight plays, 4 straight plays, and all you've done is just run down the field as a distraction, basically. And now you're like, dude, I just ran 800 yards. Homie needs a break. Hold it. Give me. I need an inhaler. Come on. That I understand, but when I've played quarterback, and I understand you get tired, but you don't get that kind of tired.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about it really quick. So, first of all, I got to give a shout out to Jake. I know people don't know who Jake is. I met him at the game in Seattle. He came up to me while I was in my seat, and he said, "Hey, Papa Ron, how you doing?" And didn't even register at first. I was just sitting there talking to the family, and I heard the Papa Ron. I was like, "Oh shit, that's me." So it's kind of cool. Somebody recognizing me at a game. So that, like I said, that was neat. Just wanted to give him a shout out. I don't know if he's listening, but if he is, shout out to you. That was awesome. And can I also just add in? It's one thing to go to a Bills game in the home stadium and with all of your people there, and watching your team play well and winning the football game. And there's nothing like that experience. It's a whole nother thing, though, when you go to a road game and your team is playing well and you basically run the home fans out of the stadium in the fourth quarter. That just hits different. I've never experienced it before. That was actually my first road Bills game. So that was awesome. And I remember telling my wife in the first quarter after we got up 7-0, I told her, I was like, it'd be really cool if Buffalo gets up on these guys and we watch the fans just start pouring out. And sure enough, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never been to a road game either. I'm glad that you got to experience it. Now, granted it was basically like it was kind of a home game. Just listening on TV, like it truly, like you
Yeah.
could hear the Bills Mafia chants. It was awesome. And when a play happened, like the Austin Johnson interception, shout out. He like you heard the crowd just erupt. It was awesome. It
Hmm.
was so much fun to
Yeah.
listen to.
And I also have to give a shout out uh, to the Seahawks fans. I did not have one bad experience with any one fan. There was one. So we're walking through. We're trying to get to our seats, and it's super crowded. There's just people everywhere, and it's almost like stop and go traffic. And there's a Seahawks fan next to me, and he looks at me. He's like, "Where the hell did all you guys come from? Like, who dropped y'all off here?" And I just laughed, and I told him, "It's the Bills Mafia Travels. It's a pretty special fan base." And he's like, "Yeah, well, f off."
Well, it was really cool for you, especially. Like it made me really happy because it didn't register like when the schedule came out because we were talking and hoping that maybe you and the family would be able to come out again to Buffalo this year for a game. But then when that it came out and we saw Seattle, I'm really glad that you got to go. It's so much fun. The fact that we got to go to a home game, you guys got to go to an away game, and back to back weekends. That was really cool. We really got to see the whole aspect we
Yeah,
got to see the team from all aspects.
yeah, it was cool. That same guy too, as we were talking, he was like, "So where are you from? Are you from Buffalo?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from Idaho." And he's like, "Okay, you can definitely f off." If you live up here in Idaho, people expect you to be one of, I guess, three fan bases, whether it's the Seahawks, Broncos, or maybe the Raiders. Um, so
Really?
to meet somebody from Idaho that's rooting against the Seahawks, I'm sure he didn't like that, but he was cool. We shook hands, good game
Friendly
afterward. Or,
banter.
yeah,
Friendly
yeah,
banter. What
uh,
fandom what you just explained is what fandom is supposed to be.
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
exactly.
friendly the friendly f off. The we'll get you next time at the end of the game, no matter how it ended. Like it when I saw, I can't remember what team it was, whoever it was, like the guy that was punching and like beating the crap out of those Commanders fans. I don't know if you saw that. He's being charged with attempted murder. Um, it was I want to say like 2 weeks ago. It was after a game, and a fan of the opposing team, I think they lost, they either won or lost. And after the game, he was walking around on the street, just walking up to random people and straight up knocking them out, like cold punching them, and people. And it was all on video. And and after they were knocked out, he didn't stop. He stayed on top of them, kept pounding them. And I
Jeez.
saw that. I'm like, that's disgusting. Like I hate that stuff. I don't get it at all. I mean, Mike and I have seen people argue over seats, get kind of physical, like kind of look like a middle school fight, nothing intense. And there was a sheriff that was there five
Yeah,
seconds later and kicked them both out. But seeing stuff like that, that's what gives like sporting events bad raps, and what keeps people, makes me, I'm becoming a father, makes me question in the future in a couple of years whether I want to bring my kid to a game, because I don't want my kid to end up having to be around that just by chance, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. Because God forbid something happened to him, then I go to jail because I end up killing somebody.
yeah,
So like it's one of those things. Like so, I'm glad that you had that kind of interaction. That makes me happy that there's still that kind of fandemonium still around.
yeah. It was a lot of fun. I will add in one last thing. When you go to a new city, I've never been to Seattle before, so it's my first time. And we did the whole tailgating thing. We're walking the streets. They've got vendors everywhere. Fans, of course, are everywhere.
Nice.
There was some guy there had his drum set up, and he's just going to town. And it was a neat experience. So we decided, you know what, let's get a hot dog before we go inside the stadium, right? So we walk over to the hot dog stand, and they've got Polish sausage and regular hot dogs and this and that. And then there's ones called the Seattle dog. Like, well,
Okay.
I'm in Seattle. I guess I got to try. It's like when you go to Buffalo, you got to try the wings, or if you come to
Right.
Idaho, you got to try the finger steaks. So
Wait,
I was like,
hold on. What the hell is a finger steak?
it's just strips of steak, but they originated here. People
What
outside
kind?
Idaho call them steak fingers, which I did too until I moved
No,
here.
people outside of Idaho do not call them steak fingers because I've never heard. So you gotta break this whole thing down for me. What kind of steak and how is it served?
I'm not sure what kind of steak they use. I guess it's more like a beef steak than like
Well,
T-bone steak, right?
so is it kind of like a
It's
skirt
deep
steak?
fried.
And it's deep fried? Oh my
Yeah,
God! What is
it's fried. Yeah, fried.
what is going
Su-
on?
super fattening.
This is not a thing in New York. I promise you. I've never heard of deep fried steak fingers.
Well, now you have.
Okay,
So,
Seattle dog. I'm sorry. I'm
yeah, no,
sorry.
you're good. You're good.
The steak fingers
Um,
completely threw me for a loop.
the finger steaks are much better than a Seattle dog. I will never have a Seattle dog again. I'm sorry, Seattle. Um,
What was it?
cream cheese on a hot
Oh,
dog.
gone.
No.
No.
That was the only thing. It was grilled onions, which I love,
Yeah.
and cream cheese across it, the top.
That's filthy. That is
yeah.
filthy. Oh my God. Well, we're getting yelled at by Mike, so let's throw this to John's ad, and then we'll reconvene and talk about the game for this weekend.
Go ahead, Mike.
Right. He's the one yelling
Hey,
at
this is
us.
John from Game On Video Games and Sports Memorabilia. We are Rochester's premier trading card store. We have a wide selection of trading cards, autographs, and memorabilia. We also do autograph and celebrity appearances in the store. So if you're looking for the perfect gift for yourself, relative that doesn't like the Bills, or for a friend, come down and check us out at our Rochester location, 2670 Dewey Avenue, or our Hamburg location at 1 Buffalo Street. Go Bills.
Okay, I'm not gonna say if I say when you and Mike make a trip out here to Idaho, we will make sure we'll go out and have some finger steaks.
I swear to God, I can't stop thinking about it, and it is throwing me off so
Here's
much.
the thing: they originated in a strip joint. at least that particular that club will say that. There's a couple of other places here locally that claim it as well. But
I hope you're
it's
taking
pretty
us to
funny.
the original.
Yeah, I don't think my favorite place is actually there's a bowling alley. It's called Meridian Lanes. That's the best ones that I've had so far here. Is there? Unfortunately, that's not far from where I live.
No, okay, so what kind of like dipping sauce do they serve it with? Here we go.
Typically, you
ranch.
typically a ranch. You can do gravy. I mean, really, just about any dipping sauce.
Gravy would be good. Gravy would be very good.
But so yeah.
Well, this podcast is over. I'm gonna go get really fat and get steak and gravy.
All right, let's talk about the Bills. This weekend, big. I don't know. I guess it's a big game. In my opinion, Buffalo wins this game. It pretty much locks up the division, and I think it sinks the Dolphins any hopes of a playoff appearance this year. Is there a chance? Yeah, they're not mathematically eliminated, but that'll drop them to what, 3
and 6?
3 and 6, right?
3 and 5. No, 3 and 5 because they had their bye.
I think they only have 2 wins then.
Oh, okay. So 2 and 6.
2 and 6.
Yeah, 2 and 6.
2 and 6 with 11 games. It's possible, right? But you get swept by Buffalo. I personally don't see a wild card coming out of the AFC East this year. So I think if you're coming out of the AFC East, it's got to be the division champ.
I have a feeling both wild cards are coming out of the North.
That could happen.
I mean, the fact that the Steelers are leading the division, that's kudos to Mike Tomlin yet again. Does it with this makeshift roster. Like I don't understand it. But so I mean, if they're leading the division, then you're looking at the Ravens in the wild card. There's still the Steelers. I mean the Bengals, who are 3-4, whatever. They're right there. So I could definitely see that because in the AFC West, anybody other than the Chiefs, I don't really see much. The South, anybody other than the Texans. I guess Flacco could have something to say about that. Maybe the Texans can go on a run, but the AFC isn't as good as we all thought, or it is as good, and we're just beating the crap out of each other, which we kind of are.
Yeah, I think it's more of the conference just isn't as good as we thought, and I think it comes down to more about the quarterback play. Justin Herbert, he's not an elite quarterback. I thought maybe he was, but he's.
I think he can't. I mean, the last couple of weeks he's played a lot better. He's averaged 290 yards.
It feels like he's going the other direction though. Now I know he's lost some weapons. I understand that, but over the last 2 or 3 seasons, it just feels like he's just kind of plateaued, and that's it. We've seen what we're going to see out of the best of him.
I also give him a lot of leeway due to the coaching that he's had in his career. Now he's finally got an actual competent coach in Harbaugh. That now I think we're gonna actually see the best of Justin Herbert. He has every talent. I mean, you saw even with who was that joke of a coach that they had, Brandon Staley. I mean, even early in his career with Staley,
4th and 21 at the 15, go for it,
run it, he played well. He was put up 300, 400 yard games, and he was a top 3, fantasy quarterback, to put it into that perspective. So he has the ability, and he can do it. I truly think he's been hampered by terrible coaching, terrible front office.
But even with Staley, I don't know. I could be wrong. It really feels like we've seen the best of him, and that's it. He's not going to get any better. There's no ceiling that hasn't been realized yet with him.
I guess my point is I don't think he has to get better because he's shown how he can be very good. I think he needs a team, and he finally has a head coach that can be good and consistent around him. That's definitely been hampered. I mean, shit, you got Quentin Johnston as your number 1 wide receiver, and Ladd McConkey, playing very, very well, but he's also not. You shouldn't be relying. Yeah, how's that working out for you, Ronnie? You shouldn't be relying.
I love Keon, so I think it's working out great.
Right, you shouldn't be relying, but he shouldn't be your number 1 target. And I understand they are truly in a rebuilding year, they're getting rid of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen last year. Jim Harbaugh completely tore down that offense down to the pillars. So I think this year is their rebuilding year. See what they have in the team, and now next year let's go get some weapons for the guy.
Yeah, their defense is playing well. But yeah, back to Buffalo, they win this game. They moved to 7-2. They got the Colts, whom they should beat. You're looking at 8-2 heading into the Kansas City game. And I don't want to jump ahead too far, but
I hope the Chiefs are undefeated going into that game. God, I hope the Chiefs are undefeated going into that game.
Yes and no.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I understand why you say that. I mean, I get that. But as far as the number 1 seed, we need them to lose at least 1 game before or after, I suppose. But at some point, they need to lose some more games. And
I would just rather not be the team that plays them the week or 2 after losing.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't really put a lot into that.
But that's what happened to us against the Ravens. I said, week 3, I said, I hope they lose because I don't want to be because I don't want them to, all right, we won. Now let's get this ball rolling, and then here they are, they won. And then they came out, they're like, all right, we remember who we are and how to play football again. They smacked us in the mouth. I truly believe they caught us at a very wrong time, and so did the Texans, and we still almost beat the Texans. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's the whole conference is interesting. I'm not a. I don't think Kansas City is undefeated good. I personally believe that they are one of the most overrated undefeated teams.
Oh yeah,
Patrick Mahomes, more interceptions than touchdowns, and there's a lot of talk about their defense carrying them and being really good, and they've done really well. But I can't, I wish I pulled it up, but I think it was their DVOA rating, their ranking was pretty high, it was like in the teens. Yet their EPA and success rate were in the top 10. So to me, that kind of says maybe there's some inconsistencies there. I don't feel like they have any weapons. I know they got DeAndre Hopkins. Whoop-de-doo. What is he, like 57 years old now? I think he's way past his. I don't say way past, but he's past his prime. Kareem Hunt, whatever. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's not having a really good season. I do think a lot of that is because of the weapons. I'll be honest, because we know he's great. Even Travis Kelce hasn't looked like the same Travis Kelce that we've seen in years past.
He's a little thicker this year, I've noticed. Now, I mean, this is someone who's been working on his belly for the last 28 years. So I know exactly what I'm looking at when I see it. He's got a little bit of a belly on him this year, like more so than the past. I've genuinely noticed he's not as fast and he's not as fluid and he's not nearly as quick as he has been in the past. Father Time has caught up.
Love.
Well, truth. But Father Time is finally catching up to him. He's what, 33, 34 years old? Like, I mean, I understand he signed a 2-year extension. And I expect him to play out that extension, but I expect that, like, once it's over, like, once that contract runs out, I expect him to probably be done. So, fingers crossed, Bills Mafia. We should only have 2 more years of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and not even a prime Travis Kelce anymore either. So
Correct. And, Jen,
all right.
Honestly, he should only get a little bit worse from here on out. You're right.
Yeah. Is anything, as far as the Dolphins game, are you at all worried about the game? Any concerns there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a division game. They're healthy. They just had an embarrassing loss last week. They led by 10
They've had
twice.
multiple embarrassing losses over the past month.
They led by 10 twice with Tua back, and they blew them both. Jalen Ramsey is not the player that he used to be. You want to talk about Father Time catching up to you? He is not a top 3 corner back anymore in the league. You know, that defense is suspect. They don't have much of a pass rush. Jalen Phillips is out. I think if we just go out and play the exact same offensive game that we did last week, we should see somewhat of a similar result, with Miami scoring more points than the Titans did. Or Seahawks. Than Seahawks, excuse me.
Oh, I mean, 10 points. I was going to say something as far as the Dolphins are concerned. We know Josh Allen is owned. Oh, you mentioned Ramsey. I looked this up earlier today because I was writing about it, but Ramsey, according to PFF, is the 13th ranked corner, which when you just looking at that, I think, oh, wow, 13th best corner in the league out of 64 starting corners. But then, yeah, like you were just saying, he's not top 3 anymore. He's not that guy anymore. And my bold prediction article I wrote today, I assume more than likely Ramsey's going to be mostly lined up with Cooper probably. And then you've got Keon Coleman on the other side who will be lined up against Kendall Fuller. Now, I'm sure they're not going to follow them, but for the most part. Guess who the nickel corner is in Miami? You're going to recognize the name.
Poyer. Oh, oh my God.
Yeah, for those of you who remember, Stephon Diggs put him in the spin cycle and dusted him.
Oh, so it's not who I'm thinking of. Who is it?
Kader Kohu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guess where he's ranked on PFF's top whatever
Dead,
corners?
dead last.
99.
Love it.
Yeah.
You know who he's still
Guess
above?
who our slot receiver is?
Shalil Kakir.
Yeah. Guess who's going to have a big game, in my opinion. Like, I think Khalil Shakir is going to have a second 100 yards game of the season. He's going to tear up Kader Kohu.
I expect this to be a very run-heavy game. I think they're going to have James Cook and Ray Davis just beat the dog crap. I truly do expect this
I
to
thought
look.
that in the past, like with the Seahawks, because their run defense was not good. They averaged allowed over 5 yards per carry, but we didn't do that. Yes, Cook had a big game. We know that, but they didn't just run it and run it and run it. And
No, but we
I kinda
ran
thought
it
they
when
would.
we wanted. We ran it when we wanted to control the game, and I guess that's what I'm saying with Miami. I think we're gonna be able to run it when we want to,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
gonna let us control the game in that sense. But they have, I mean, in my opinion, the biggest shake up of that offense with Tua coming back is how much better that running offense is going to be, because teams are going to have to. They're not going to be able to just load the box anymore, because they can't throw it out with the backups. They couldn't throw Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. All they could do was run. So teams just loaded up the box. So A-Chain was nowhere to be found. But now with Tua coming back, those boxes are going to get a little bit lighter. You know, that's going to create a little bit more space for A-Chain, and you see what he can do in space. You know, he makes one guy miss, and he's out the gate. He's gone. He is one of the fastest players in the NFL. So that's going to be a big challenge for us, in my opinion. Is if we can stop their run, they have no offense, because then we, if we get up 2 touchdowns, they can't run the ball. 0 play action, which is what their whole offense is predicated on.
Well, we saw the Buffalo defense do extremely well against Kenneth Walker III. And I even so when we were in Seattle, we went with my daughter's boyfriend's family, who are all Seahawks fans, and of course he is too, and he and I were talking about the game, and I told him, it's like, I am concerned about Kenneth Walker, because we have not done well against the run at all season. Like, even the Jaguars, who we blew them out of the water, they averaged, I think it was 5 yards exactly per carry. The only reason why that they weren't able to take advantage of that was because the Bills pulled ahead and they had to throw it. That wasn't the case in Seattle. They just straight up shut that running game down. And I was not expecting that at all.
They also, in my opinion, Seattle just kind of bailed on the run. After the first quarter, they're like, oh, well, they're not going to – they kind of treat it like, when we play Madden. Well, this guy's good against the run, so I'm just going to go pass heavy, and run it once every 4-5 plays. That's kind of like what they did. And the Bills, dared Geno, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with Njigba, Lockett, and Geno Smith. That's how you're going to beat us. And that, without having DK Metcalf, Lockett, he's good, but he's not what he used to be. And Njigba, he hasn't panned out to be that star receiver but we all thought he was going to be in the NFL. Now, is he bad? No, but he's not. He never pushed DK for that number 1 spot. Yeah. So, in my opinion, I thought they just abandoned the run too quick. And I'm thankful for it, because they do have Kenneth Walker. Now, they do have the highest pass rate in the NFL, out of all the teams. So, is it shocking they threw it as much as they did compared to, going away from what they do well and most and run the ball? I guess not, but, that's when you look at who you're playing against. What do they do bad, and attack it?
Yeah. I'm looking out the window here. We do have some kids starting to come up. It's a little earlier here in Idaho than it is on the East Coast. So we're going to get this wrapped up. My family and neighbors are out, are all dressed up. I just saw my wife walk down the driveway dressed in her taco outfit. So
that's awesome.
I got to go get my outfit on, which is I'm just going to be a big beer. That's what I am this year, is a beer.
You should have been a burrito. Or Jennifer Lopez and quoted South Park all night and said, my taco-flavored kisses.
Oh, no. No. Okay, moving on. Let's score predictions. Well, first of all, tonight's game, Jets and Houston. Who are you taking? I'm just curious what you think of that.
Did you know the Jets are favored by 2.5?
No, I
The
didn't.
2-6 Jets are favored over the 6-2 Texans tonight.
Is
That's
Collins back yet? I haven't seen
no
anything.
next week. So their number one's Tank Dell, and then they'll have Xavier Hutchinson and John
And
Mechie.
Stephon Diggs is out as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I don't know if you saw it. I did put it up on social media earlier, my primetime picks, and I did take the Jets to win this. I didn't know that they were favored, but yeah, I just think that Texas just haven't been playing that well lately. Even when they beat us, they weren't playing that well, in my opinion. So I do have
they
the Jets
played
winning
not.
that one.
They're so lucky. They played exactly how you're not supposed to. They played not to lose against us in that second half.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
if they just kept the pedal to the metal the way they played in the first half, they would have blown the doors off of us. But instead they just we're gonna run, give them the ball. Then Josh is like, all right, eventually I'm gonna score, and he did.
yeah.
Anyway, the Jets Texans. God, who do I want to win? The Jets. Who do I think is gonna win? I'm gonna go Texans. I think the Texans are still gonna pull it out because they got Joe Mixon, who's been running really well. They still have Dalton Schultz. I really like John Mechie. I still do.
Yeah.
And Tank Dell, I don't think Sauce is going to follow Tank Dell, so I think they're going to be able to scheme him open. I'll take the Texans in a close one.
All right. What about the Sunday night game, Colts and Vikings?
Vikings by 100.
Hey, they got Joe Flacco behind center.
Vikings by 100.
I did take the Vikings as well, and the Monday night game, Bucks and Chiefs.
Chiefs. Bucks don't have the weapons anymore. Now, granted, Baker did play well last week with
I
no
was gonna say,
Godwin
yeah,
or Evans,
he
but
threw
and
300 plus yards and I think 3 touchdowns without either one of them in the game.
and I mean Kate Otten, who knew 13 catches for like 100 yards and and
Yeah.
2 touchdowns or something. Happy National Tight End Day to you, bro. And the Kansas City is one of the worst defenses against the tight end, but I'll still take Kansas City.
Yeah, I let my heart talk on this one. It convinced me to go with the Bucks. We'll see. That's what I'm hoping for. If I was using my mind, my brain, I would probably say the Chiefs, but I'm going to stick with the Bucks because that's what I originally said. All right, Sunday, Dolphins coming to Highmark Stadium, taking on the Buffalo Bills. What is your score prediction? I'm going to bring Mike in here while you think about it.
I'm going to go 27-21 Buffalo.
Oh, wow. Much
Covers
closer.
the
Mike,
over.
Mike, can you hear us? Are you ready?
You're muted, Demi. There
You
you
hear
go.
me? I can't unmute
Yeah,
myself. You got to help me out.
Nope, you're
well, you
good.
did. We can hear you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That's
there's
weird.
a score prediction banner in your face though,
I know.
but that's okay.
But I think that's just how we view it. I think on the other end, it's not right in front of Casey's face.
Well, so what are your thoughts? What's your score predictions for this game, Bills versus Miami?
I'm going. I just don't see. I don't see the Dolphins having a big game. I want to get pressure. I think that would be a huge thing. And I think the Bills will win 34-17.
Okay. Rapapon.
Yeah, I was leaning a little more towards what Mike is saying. I don't know if you guys watched Tua's press conference the other day. He kind of got a little pissy.
Where is Brady?
Which I have
Sounded
not
like
heard him be that way before, honestly.
Sounded like a teenage girl.
This was interesting to me too, and I saw a lot of Miami fans, piling on the Dolphins fans because they were on the sidelines laughing and joking while they're losing to the Colts. I think it was the Colts. I don't feel like this team is just in it anymore. I feel like they've already kind of checked out. So I'm kind of leaning towards Mike here. I'm going to go I'll say 31, 13.
I love it. I can't.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it. Not doing that to us.
But yeah,
Not
please
happening.
don't. All right, we're going to get out of here. Next Monday, we may or may not have a guest. If we have one, look for social media. Check us out on Facebook at the Mafia Cast. Follow us, subscribe on YouTube. Next Thursday, we've got Pete Metzelaars, former tight end from the Buffalo Bills, will be joining us. This is his second time on the show. Super excited to get him on here and chat some Bills football again.
For sure.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah,
So until next Monday, we are going to get on up out of here. Happy Halloween, everybody. Don't eat too much candy, or do. I don't care. Either way, have yourselves a good night. We'll see you all next Monday. Go Bills.
I would if I had any. Go Bills.